Hey everyone, welcome to the channel today. I'm Josh with BlockRoots. I am feeling a little under the weather. I'm starting to catch a cold here and I'm feeling it, so I do apologize. I will try to keep as upbeat as possible. As always, with the disclaimer, do your own research. And then also too, nothing is financial advice on here. We do have to say that because crypto markets are highly volatile. There's a lot of risk with it. Now, talking about risk today, before we talk about why I think we're not necessarily in a bear market and I don't foresee us hitting down to new lows, I'll explain that. We'll look at the charts. But even to start it off, we'll talk about Binance and their new increase to leverage, what that means for you as a trader. We'll also look to it at an altcoin that has dropped around 90% in the past day and the risk of investing a lot in altcoins and what that can bring. By the way, too, I want to go ahead and also share the $100 winner for our subscribers who actually leave a comment on a weekly basis. We're going to give away free Bitcoin, so be prepared for that. If you do like our channel and subscribe and want to comment and engage, we're going to pick a winner every week to give away Bitcoin. We're going to give $100 today from somebody who commented in the past week on a video. So let's go ahead and pick that here in a few minutes. Before we do that, if you have not already, check out Unstoppable Domains. I've shared this before. Pretty cool. You being able to use a .crypto or .zil, Z-I-L address for your Bitcoin wallet. Go and use our link below. If you use our link, just know that you will be accredited for a drawing for $750 worth of prizes. I'll drop that below. And as far as the news, by the way, let's go ahead and talk about Binance is doing 125x leverage. Okay, as you see on the tweet here, Binance Futures increases maximum leverage to 125x and launches leverage adjustment function. My response, you guys get a casino license now with this gambling feature, because clearly what this is, if you don't margin trade or if you don't know anything about it, is it's purely gambling, okay? Because crypto markets are highly volatile, and we'll talk about that. Also, too, from Cointelegraph here, Binance raises their max margin. And so what they said here was, according to Binance, highly leveraged trading is being introduced using a sophisticated risk engine and liquidation model, a fast matching engine that enables continuous margin without any jumps in mark prices for preventing unnecessary liquidations and combating market manipulation. And my answer to this as a trader is that doesn't matter. When you have 100 to 125x leverage on, it doesn't matter how fast your matching engine is. It doesn't matter how sophisticated tech is. It doesn't matter, because what matters is the price of the market. Now, specifically with altcoins can jump and bounce around 10, 20, 30% in a day up or down. Bitcoin, again, can jump up and down quite a bit. And so we recently saw from the Wix, and I just want to show you right here, that even in the course of an hour, let's look at some of these movements here, right? So Bitcoin, if I were to take the price jumped 3% there. Here it's quite a bit more, 4.8% in 1 hour. Within an hour, within minutes, within seconds, price can actually jump quite a bit when it comes to Bitcoin, specifically altcoins. Why is this a problem when you're using 125x leverage? That's because whenever you borrow money from an exchange for margin trading, basically you can get liquidated, meaning that you lose your entire amount that you put in. The more you borrow, the higher the leverage, the easier it is to get liquidated. Now, with 125x leverage, you're looking at a little over 0.5% to get liquidated. So if you guys want to go ahead and do that on here, we can go ahead and take 8,000, the current price of Bitcoin, and let's just say 0.6, a little bit more than a half. If Bitcoin moves in the opposite direction of your trade, at $48, you're completely liquidated. So if you put one Bitcoin in the trade on 125x leverage and price moves from 8,000 to 7,952, you're completely liquidated. You lose your Bitcoin forever. So you have to really use proper risk management when it comes to margin trading. That's why we always say that you should never really truly use more than 5x leverage. 50x even is a little bit more than what most people need to use. It's very high risk, so you need to practice proper risk management. Recently, or yesterday, that we saw on Twitter and on social media, that Scroll, now called XD Coin, I believe that it is called Data Transaction Token, but on Twitter, their Soltech, also known as Scroll, is no longer conducting active business. They put this tweet out yesterday. And with that said, what happened, of course, with Scroll, it went from over 1 cent down to 0.0014 is what the current price is right now for Scroll, also known as XD token, down 80+%. And so what's the problem with this? Now, a lot of people shared about Scroll on social media, some people that I actually know, some people that I would even consider friends. From my knowledge, I'm not going to get the pitchfork out. I believe that a lot of these people are good people, that they just kind of were in the wrong place at the wrong time. They got sucked into this. And from my knowledge, a lot of people lost a lot of money. Some people lose more than other people. There are people who lost tens of thousands of dollars on this. And the entire point that I'm trying to make, along with the 125x leverage with Binance in these altcoins, is that you have to practice proper risk management. You can't be going all in on these small micro cap coins, because even though they pump really hard, the chances of you making a ton of money or getting rich off a small cap coin is very slim to none, okay? They also drop really hard. And so, mortgaging your house, putting in and taking a loan out to put in a lot of these altcoins, etc., is just very unwise, because you never know what's going to happen. This coin, specifically this company, was known for their, quote, best tech. They were known also as an up-and-coming company that was also invited to a Tech Crunch conference as well. As you can see, it turns out that they shut the doors. And so there is word that they are restructuring their company. But with that said, a restructuring of a company, typically companies don't restructure by taking down their website, as well as telling everybody on social media that they are closed for business right now. And so that was what was said. And of course, whenever you restructure a company, you try to do so in a way that doesn't hurt your investors. Now, anybody who invested in this token has now lost 90 to 95% or more. Of course, Scroll got up to, or XD token got up to around 30 cents. At one point. Of course, anybody down from there is 99.9% down. And so you have to be careful. You have to have practice proper risk management. You never want to go all in. You want to diversify. There are very few altcoins that are even worth the money to put in at this point in time. If you are not an experienced trader, more often you should probably stick to trading Bitcoin, Ethereum, possibly Litecoin, and some of the other majors. And so not as volatile and not as illiquid, even though they are an illiquid asset. Cryptos are an illiquid asset compared to traditional markets. You have to be careful with this. So again, the big focus today is risk management. We'll talk more about that on a podcast. But, really sorry to hear about this for those who were impacted by Scroll on this token. And so let's go ahead and pick our YouTube subscriber who actually took the time to engage this week with a comment. I want to go ahead and pick a video, and based off that, we'll see who the winner is. And you can go ahead and see it live recorded right here. And we look like we have Austin Villanueva. And so again, Austin, thanks again for the comment. Thanks again for all the content you put out. Austin said, "You're welcome. We'll go ahead and make sure to send $100 Bitcoin to your wallet." So just reach out to us on Twitter. You can Josh_Rager. You can reach out to me for any reason if you have any questions, but I'll go ahead and send to this Bitcoin address here. If you're interested in winning Bitcoin, if you're interested in being a part of this, just subscribe to our channel. Every week we're going to pick a winner to give away Bitcoin. Let's go ahead and talk about the current market right now with Bitcoin. And now currently we're sitting around $7,900, okay? And on the monthly chart, it definitely does look ugly. We'll look more at this. The way I see that the current chart looks right now is very similar to over here. And so if we do drop, of course, I don't think it's going to be very much, though, not compared to what we saw back in November of last year, and I'll explain why. But again, Bitcoin is ranging horizontal supports and resistance levels. We still see the top of the level being around 8,600 or so, and of course the bottom of the level, which price did poke below today as far as the closing price being around 78.60. So if we do see price close below 78.60, I do feel like that's going to be more movement down. We certainly could range back and forth, as I talked earlier on a video earlier in the week. I don't feel like, as long as price stays below 83, 86, I feel like it is bearish for price to go up and then people to buy in and then to move down, and unable to break above the previous resistance is bad. If we want to break this down even more, price is really ranging right now in between these two levels of 79.20, where it's currently at, and 8,054. So we've got a couple $100 that Bitcoin's currently ranging in. It's moving slow. As far as the volume, if I were to turn that on, as you can see, still basically under the moving average. So volume's not very high right now, which again makes me worry. But we do see people who seem to be coming in and shorting here late. And so what that means is if you didn't get a short up here around 8,600 or even 8,300, if you're coming in late and trying to short Bitcoin under 8,000, it's very likely, if those continue to pile on, that we're going to see those guys get liquidated. We're going to see price move up. We're going to see a short squeeze. And because we know that people who tend to be late to the market, whether it's longing or whether it's shorting, tend to get punished. And so be aware of that. I would not be surprised one bit if price did move back up to this area around 83 to 8,400, liquidating some shorts and moving sideways until we get the big move, which again, as I believe from the current volume and the current price action, that will likely move down a little bit more. Now, most people are worried that we're in a bear market. Now, if we're in a bear market, this would be a very long bear market because let's look at that. Let's pull out the Brave New Coin and basically Brave New Coin liquid index here for Bitcoin. And so what we can see, if this is currently a bear market, if I were to take the date range here and go from the very top to now, 672nd day, of course, it's going to continue to move down as well. And that would be, if we did move down, it's very likely that it would probably be close to 700 to 800 days long before we started to trend up. I don't think that that's possible. That is a very long bear market to be in. If we do compare this to the previous bear market, now there could be people who argue on where to put this at, but if you look on the Bitfinex chart, we see that the lowest point here for Bitfinex over the course of the previous bear market in 2015 or so hit around August, okay? Now, the capitulation actually happened around January in 2015. Now, a lot of, you'll see this in the Brave New Coin as well, you'll see that price looked like it went lower as far as that goes in January, but we did not start trending up until after August. So I'm going to go ahead and say, based on that, some actual exchanges, the low was actually in August. We'll go ahead and say that the bear market, even though this was accumulation, lasted for around 637 days. Again, if this is currently in a bear market, even though we did have an uptrend, this would be 672 days long already. That is really long for a bear market. If we were to take this and pull it down to the low where we originally were at, it'd be around 371 days. Now, I do believe the market's moving a lot faster than it did before, and we'll see, because in traditional markets, also in crypto markets, we do see that bull markets tend to last longer than bear markets, the previous bear market. So I am confident that I do believe that Bitcoin will continue to trend up here. Now, even though it may take until the halving, okay, so that could be a while. We could be going on a downtrend or sideways until, roughly it's around May. But I would say, we could look at a sideways down market for 300 days total. Right now, it's currently only been 112 days since the top back in June before the sideways market here and drop. So how far down do I believe that we can go as far as this market? Now, currently, what we saw was Bitcoin actually dropped. If I were to get the percentage out here, we would see that Bitcoin dropped around 84%, give or take whatever exchange that you use. Now, there are people right now that are saying that they foresee us dropping 84% from this current price. Now, that would be 84% would be around $2,000, which is just really absurd if you look at that. And again, why is it absurd? Well, that's because when you think of a drop and a correction, you have to remember that Bitcoin had been going up since August or September of 2015, just up, 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 and up. What we have here is back from February around then. Bitcoin moved up until about June, which is only a few months. And we can see that Bitcoin only went up around 300%. So not quite the same as the previous bull market. If I were to take the price, of course, and move it up, it's around 330%, okay? So for a 330% move, an 80% correction sounds kind of over the top, if you ask me. Bitcoin has already corrected around 43%. If I go ahead and take this and see where we're currently at right now, right? Around 43%. That is around half of the correction of what we saw previously. Now, if you think about this, if you look at the current run-up this year, but again, it was about a third of the run-up from the previous bull market, okay? And so for us to correct 80% just really wouldn't make sense. It's just, I do foresee something possible of a 40 to 50 to 60% pullback. Again, the lowest I possibly see us going is around 60% total from the pullback, which is around the mid 5,000s. I think that we actually bounce, personally, I think that we bounce around this 6,800, which would be about a 50% drop total, which wouldn't be out of the question for a 300% gain over the course of a few months. And so again, just looking at the pullback compared to the run up, yes, 80% makes sense whenever you increase in price and gain over 8,000%. But for a 300% run up and 80% pullback is a little dramatic, if you ask me. Now, can it go down there? Certainly can. Can it hit new lows? It certainly can. Do I think it's going to happen? Certainly not, for the fact of, if you turn on the volume profile, most people got in around 3,800, 4,000 before that run up. And of course, too, people have been accumulating quite a bit around mid 6,000s, and even currently around this price right now, a lot more people are accumulating here, as you see the volume profile show that. So yes, I do think that we bounce before that. I don't think that we actually cross below the 200 week moving average. If I were to put that up, we know it's around $4,700. It's going to soon hit this confluence zone around 5,200, 5,300. And if we do drop lower, I do think that it does eventually bounce, for the fact that the timing and the percentage of pullback just doesn't make sense for us to pull even lower than that. Just be aware of that. That's why I think that we're currently not in a, quote, bear market. I think that we're currently in a pullback right now. I think that it is a prolonged pullback that Bitcoin needed after a 300% run up. But just like history shows, we tend to run up slightly in price as we approach the halving. So just be aware of that. I think that Bitcoin will continue to trend up, maybe a possible pullback down into the 7,000 to the 6,000s, but don't worry yet. Until Bitcoin breaks 6,000, 6,900, 7,000, we don't really need to worry about anything when it comes to the price and hitting new lows. So with that said, I am Josh. Please feel free to leave a like and subscribe to the channel, and also leave a comment to be in that Bitcoin drawing. And thanks again, guys. Talk to you soon.